M.Tech PG together in Government College of Technology, Coimbatore. So before going to start, I like to introduce Professor Murugappan to you all. Yes, he is, first of all, I like to, before reading his what he has sent, but I know him after completing of that is our M.Tech in 2006. Immediately 1 year he was worked here, and then he went to Malaysia to pursue his PhD, and then within of 2 and 3 years he completed his PhD, and then he worked in the same college, the government college in Malaysia. And then a few years back he shifted to Kuwait. He is a top that is in the research by top 2% in the biomedical engineering field. So now this I know him, my friend, for a long time that I know him, and he is author for many books as well as reputed journals. He published a lot. You can see his H index also 47. Now officially I'm just whatever the things I'm just go forward. Murugappan has been working at that is Kuwait College of Science and Technology. That is Kuwait as a full professor in electronics, Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering since 2016. He is also a visiting professor at a School of Engineering at Wales Institute of Science and Technology, Advanced Studies in India, and International Visiting Fellow at the Center of Excellence in Unmanned Aerial System at University Malaysia Perlis in Malaysia. In 2006, he graduated from Anna University, India with the ME degree in Applied Electronics, where he did that one only Government College of the Technology, Coimbatore. He received his PhD from University Malaysia Perlis, Malaysia in 2010. For his contribution to the field of mechatronics engineering, the specialization in biomedical signal processing. Between 2010 and 2016, that is already mentioned, he was working in the same college, that is worked as a senior lecturer as a School of Mechatronics Engineering, University of Malaysia, Perlis, Malaysia. In a study by that is Stanford University, he was recently ranked among the top 2% of the scientists working in experimental psychology and artificial intelligence for 5 consecutive years from 2020 to 24. See, 1 year, 2 years is not, that is consecutively. For last 5 years, he is the top 2% in that field. To date, that means today, up to today, or maybe for 2 days back, his Google citation has reached to 8,300 plus and H index of 47. His research into that of affective computing has received more than 750 K in grants from Malaysia, Kuwait, and the UK. His publication include more than 175 peer-reviewed conference presenting papers, journal articles, and book chapters. He also edited 5 books and published in Elsewhere, Springer, IOP, and Tyler and Francis publishers. Several of his journal articles have been recognized as the best paper of financial year, etc. Professor Murugappan is a member of the editorial board of +1, that is MDPI, and Human-Centric Information Sciences, Pure Journal Computer Science, Journal of Medical Imaging and Health Informatics, and International Journal of Cognitive Informatics. In addition to being the chair of the IEEE Kuwait Section Educational Activities Committee, Kuwait, he interested in affective computing, affective neuroscience, and neuromarking and medical imaging. There are many more. Those who are interested, you can see his Google citation as well as Scopus Index. He have as a friend, I know him from 2004 onwards when we met in the Government College of Technology. He's very, very hardworking, and we are, of course, we both of them are the same guide in the PG also. So we know that we started their wavelet transforms. He did on multi-wavelet, I did on wavelet. Still, I believe that he's continuing on very good on signal processing, then a little bit deviated towards of medical signal processing, and more and more he's doing. Welcome, Dr. Murugappan. I'm really thank you for accepting our invitation, and really thank and you're giving a lecture to our that is FDP program. Over to you, Murugappan.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Vaithiyanathan. Yeah, after a too long time, I'm seeing you in a remote mode. Anyway, I feel very happy, and thanks for your wonderful introduction about myself. And also, it is nice to recall all those things.
Professor Murugappan, I welcome you on behalf of NIT Delhi. A warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you,
Sir, I'm
ma'am.
Shelly, the coordinator for this particular program. Along with my co-coordinator, Dr. Vaithiyanathan, I would like to welcome you, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for Vaidyanathan for your introduction and recalling the life at Government College of Technology in Coimbatore. Yeah, without further ado, I just would like to start my presentation on effective computing applications in healthcare and education. Yeah. So what I'm going to talk about this particular talk is mainly towards our experience. I started working on my PhD in the field of emotion.
Sir, you are speaking on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Voice is audible.
Is it my slides are visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay. Okay. So thank you so much, Dr. Vaidyanathan, for your nice introduction about myself. And very happy to see you after a long time through the Teams, Microsoft Teams. And today I'm going to talk about effective computing applications in healthcare and education. Mainly, I'm going to focus on my experience as a teamwork in the field of effective computing, and what are the different kind of applications we have tried out so far. Even though my current focus is on a different domain of medical imaging and other stuffs, but still we do work on effective computing. So basically, we started this work during my PhD, that is emotion recognition using brain signal, electroencephalogram signal. By the time it was started exploring, this topic was very hot in the field of, in the time of, in the year of 2007. And so that I got too many publications. And later 2010, it was accelerated and growing very fast. Now I can see that there are many works are coming up in this domain of effective computing. And after my PhD, I realized that if we do some research work without any application, it is not be a noteworthy task, right? In that case, I started looking at different applications, and I will try to show you some of the applications which we worked on, and also some of the other applications in the worldwide people are started using through this technology. Okay, so without further ado, let me go to the outline. I want to give you some introduction about my university, introduction to effective computing, the market review and statistics. Mine is emerging and it is growing very fast. And what are the applications in healthcare? How can we design a system, effective computing system? What are the potential applications, challenges, and future direction? I'm not just going to discuss with you about reading some values and something, but I want to share the experience and what we had so far. Okay. So regarding my university, it is Kuwait College of Science and Technology, is a private university in Kuwait, and the curriculum of this university has been designed by IIT Delhi, and we started in 2016. And I am the first faculty in the EC department, and we have 3 courses so far: electronics and communication engineering, computer engineering, and computer science, and all of them have been accredited by ABET. And we have 4 important research centers, including my research lab. like cybersecurity, AI and robotics, intelligent signal processing and renewable energy. And we have a very strong collaboration with the international researcher because in Kuwait, there is no PhD program in any universities. And even master program is only in government university, that is Kuwait University in Kuwait. And so that most of our work has been carried out by a funded research project or through our collaborators. So I take this opportunity to thank all my collaborators for the continuous support. So we basically interested on affective computing, developing clinical diagnosis system, smart healthcare, smart transportation system, and Internet of Things. That's what our main focus area. And what we are doing at Intelligent Signal Research Processing at KCST, that's what is shown in this figure. Basically, we are working on signal processing, image processing, and also medical imaging. When you talk about signal processing, our core area is on affective computing. In that, we have an expertise to analyze the signals, basically electroencephalogram, electrocardiogram, myogram, galvanic skin response, PPG, and facial electromyogram, and all those signals, because these signals are very, very important and it carry a very useful information if you really want to detect the true state of emotion in a person. Okay, so in this case, the applications of the affective computing, as you can see here, we worked on Parkinson's disease, stroke disorder, autism spectrum disorder, and anxiety. And also we worked on stress and emotional stress assessments. When you come to image processing, we do work on facial emotion recognition, and that you will see in the later slide. And we also had a smart agriculture project on detecting the diseases, different types of diseases on the agriculture field. When you come to medical imaging, that is my primary focus area at this moment, where we are focusing on diabetic detection using thermal images, then diabetic foot ulcer detection, stroke detection, cranial damage, and autism spectrum disorder, diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder and Parkinson's disease using MRI and CT and COVID and all those stuff. Okay. So yeah, when you talk about affective computing, as you people nowadays, most of them are aware of this particular technology. It is also called as artificial and emotional intelligence. So it is one of the very, very significant domain of research in recent year. And what we do here is we try to measure, understand, and simulate and react to the human emotions. Basically, we want to measure the human emotion, and we have to understand the type of emotion, and we have to stimulate and interact with the people through the emotion. And it is basically a multidisciplinary topic. So to do effective research on this domain, we have to collaborate with the psychology people and computer science or biomedical engineers and also neuroscience people. As long as you collaboratively work with these three people, you could able to design a very nice and intelligent system for different applications. So this is what the place where we are lagging. It is not easy to collaborate with the medical professionals and with the engineering people, engineering professionals. So this is our biggest challenge. So one of the reason why we do some good amount of research in this domain is we had a very strong collaboration between medical people, clinical personnel with our engineering research team. So I have a lot of masters and PhD students when I was in Malaysia, and we had a good collaboration with the local hospital in Malaysia, so that we worked together to develop many applications, during the time. And sometime here, the emotions, actually, how can you incorporate? So in principally, what we do here is we have to develop a methodology, an algorithm that has to detect the human emotion based on the user behavior, and it has to react it. So basically, we detect the human emotions by different ways. One is facial expression, gestures, physiological signals, and speech. But most probably nowadays, people are mostly focused on facial expression, which is the cost-effective method, and it is a user-friendly. And also, we use physiological signals. These are the two major methods we use to develop a systems. However, speech is also considered as another area where people are also working on it. And here, one of the main thing what we have to understand is when you talk about decision making, AI plays a very, very vital role. So as a people, as a researchers, we have to also give equal priority, equal importance to the AI methods for directing the emotions through different futures. So as you know that emotion is a very common and centric domain, it plays a major role on day-to-day life in terms of decision making, memory, perception, social interaction, intelligence, and creativity. So it is very common where people has a different kind of emotion over the day. And most importantly, the emotion is a subjective phenomena. This is one of the biggest challenge in this domain. It is not like everybody feel the same emotion when they watch some movie or when they see some figure or when they listen some song. It is completely a subjective phenomenon. So the most challenging part in developing application is how can you handle the subjective data, Uh, one of the audience mentioned that my PPT is not visible. Is it so? Is it
No, sir,
visible?
you are in slide number 6. You are in slide
Okay.
number 6. It is okay, sir?
Correct. I am in slide number 6 now. Yeah. Visible, right? Okay. Okay.
Maybe their internet may be poor.
Fine. No problem. Okay. So now, when you talk about the emotions, we have basically a 6 kind of emotions. Because, when you talk about emotions, everybody can say a different number of emotions: joy, happy, fun, disgust, and so many things you can say. But as long as when you want to develop a kind of a system based on some applications, people are trying to compile all this emotion into 6 major categories, which is disgust, happiness, surprise, fear, and sad. So all those emotions, for example, if you say joy or fun, it is come under the happy emotion. Likewise, people are basically categorized into 6 different types. As far as the market is concerned, the effective computing technology, the implementation has been emerging very fast, and it is doubling every year. Currently it is about 21.6 billion US dollar, which has been going through over this domain over the world. And there are 2 main approaches. Detecting emotion is also, it is not an easy task. People either they go for a kind of a binary approach, or they go for a 3-dimensional approach, a multi-class approach. Binary approach means we classify into valence and arousal. The valence, which will mention you about what kind of emotional feeling you have. Is it positive feeling or negative feeling? That is what we mean valence. Arousal means whether it is strong or weak emotion. So based on this 2 axes, people can map a different class of emotion. So most of the people are trying to do the emotions on valence arousal axis because it is very easy to classify or develop any system. But if you go for multi-class emotion, then we have a lot of challenges because there are overlapping. So some emotion, for example, as you can see here, I think one of the audience mic is on. Can you please on? Yeah. As you can see here, fear and anger, it is comes under the same class of arousal and valence axis. So in this case, it would be very challenging to differentiate it. This is one of the important thing we have to concern when you are talking about multi-class emotion. But on the way other go ahead, people also do for three-dimensional emotion. For example, instead of valence and arousal axis, they are also considered about dominance. For example, if you are watching a simple, a small movie, for for a specific moment, maybe you may be feeling like a very positive, and also you are feeling like it is very strong. But over the period of time, it has started fluctuating. So that means that you are not going to be in the same mood throughout the song or throughout the movie. It is changing time to time. So when you're analyzing over the whole entire period, which emotion become dominant? That is what we have to, we are interested to analyze it. For example, you might have some disappointing news or something, and you may feel sad. But when there is another moment, if you have come across with a different kind of emotions, obviously the effect of the sad is going to be less, and the next, whatever the happiness or surprise emotion will be higher. You understand? So in this way, usually the emotions are usually we have to analyze it when we come for applications. As I said, we can analyze the emotions either through facial expressions or speech or biosignal or gestures. However, the biosignals mostly reflect the true emotional changes in the human being compared to others, because the facial expression, speech, and gestures can be mimicked. That means even though you are not happy, if you smile, people feel that you are happy, but internally you are not happy. So when you want to develop some kind of clinical applications in healthcare, it is better to use with the biosignal than facial expressions. Understand? Yeah. And this is a simple overview of the growth of affective computing over the world. And as you can see, which region of the world is most dominating in terms of affective computing technologies, and what is the size of the market in affective computing, what is the CAGR and everything, as you can visualize here. It shows that all over the world, people started looking at this technology for different applications. Okay. Yeah. And when you are looking at the productivity, for example, as a researchers, we are mainly interested on papers, mostly, right? However, we people are also interested on the patenting and startup and so on. But when you look at the publication of papers in effective computing is concerned, I got only statistics up to 2020. But to my knowledge, the number of paper in this domain has been tremendously increased after 2020, because every day I used to get 5 to 10 paper on emotion recognition or stress or emotional stress, Parkinson's disease, stroke. Every day I get 5 to 10 paper. So that means that from different journals, different journals. So that shows that there are many people started exploring this domain, and it has started growing very fast, So that's one of the important things to look at. Then I just want to show you a sample image of how we collected our data set, because we had a very great experience in collecting a huge number of data sets, because we have more than 15 data sets we have developed in collaboration with the hospital people and also with the other engineering research centers. So this is one of the simple experimental video where you can see that people have wear the EEG cap that has a 64 channel electrodes, wire connected electrode with the system, and the person is watching some movie on a screen, and we are trying to record, we are recording the EEG activity on the 64 channel, and we started analyzing the signals to understand the kind of emotion the person is having. So here I want to mention one thing which is very, very important. As long as you do a biological or physiological research, which is directly connected to emotion or something related to affective computing, either a normal people or on a pathological people like Parkinson's stroke, it is always preferable to go for a very, very high density electrode. Because high density electrode mean more number of EEG electrodes you should have to use it. Minimum 64, or we can go to 128 on 256. So those electrodes always give a better information, compared to the few channel based systems. Because in the market, there are plenty of systems which is available with the 2 channel, 1 channel, 6 channel, 10 channel and all. So compared to those systems, this systems gives more precise information. That's what I want to conclude here. And this is another experiment. This here we have a limitation. When we are working with the people on Parkinson's disease, there are a lot of constraints on us in terms of placing the electrode and also to give a freedom to the subject. Yeah. Because if you are planning to, for example, in the previous diagram, if I want to place 64 electrode on a person human scalp, there are a lot of procedure we have to carry on. Because we have to remove the hair and we have to clean the skin and we have to apply the gel and then we have to place the electrode. You understand? That means minimum I have to spend 1.5 hours to place this electrode, because I did it in my during my research experiment time. So 1.5 hours means the person is almost going to sleep. This is the biggest challenge. But we cannot do this kind of experiment on a pathological people, because for those Parkinson's disease people, stroke people and all, you cannot ask them to sit for 1 hour something or 1.5 hours to place electrode. So they want freedom, they want mobility. So we go for another system, which is a 14-channel wireless EEG system, which is by Emotive Epoch. So that system we used for our experiment on Parkinson's disease and stroke disease people. So this is very easy to wear, and also we can, the person has a freedom to move, because even though the movement affect the signal, EEG signal a lot, but we need to be very carefully develop our algorithm to clean this kind of unwanted information like noises after the data collection is over. That is one of the important thing we have to concern when you go for real-time data collection. Yeah. And this is the number of electrodes, and why I mentioned that high density electrode is important. As you see here, the electrodes are spread. It is not it's not closely connected to each other. Randomly we choose in the area, and the most of the electrode we have given a preference on the frontal domain. Okay, so that means there is no much concentration on the occipital lobe and parietal lobe. That is also very important when you are talking about specific disorders, pathological disorder. So it is always preferable to use high density electrodes, if you are using EEG for Parkinson's disease. Yeah. Even though nowadays people have started using different kind of biological signal, but we used only EEG at the time. And this is what the overview of my entire research on affective computing, how we applied this concept in our research. Basically, affective computing is concerned, we have emotion recognition. When you come to this task of emotion recognition, we have done an experiment on autism spectrum disorder children's. We also used the technology for stress detection, using stress detection in people who are stressful or normal. And we also used this idea for stroke detection, stroke disorder people. And also we used to detect for emotional stress and Parkinson's disease. So the emotion recognition concept is the main area where we can easily apply to a different kind of applications. Similarly, if you come for neuromarketing, this is another important domain which I am very passionate about. But unfortunately, there is not much interest on this area. Neuromarketing, in this domain, I had an experience and we developed we have publication on investor behavior in the stock market. For example, if there are a pool of investor, for example, what we done this is a project we have done in collaboration with the Monash University in Malaysia. What we have done is we had 32 people. They are sitting on an environment, and we given some token of money, and we have used this age headset to all the people, and we asked them to invest on a share market. We developed some simple application, and we want to understand how the investor is behave when they are investing money. Is it all the people are working at the same level or at a different level? On what are the key factor that influences the investor behavior? That is one of the very, very interesting area. We have done some experiment on that, and we also done some experiment on product advertisement. This is very, very important, because nowadays, as you see here, whatever the product has been launched by any multinational company, mostly it won't be a failure one. Why? Because earlier days, there is a thought that this company does not produce a quality product and the products may get failure. But nowadays, it is not happening. One of the reason here is, once the company people have developed the product, they try to experiment, with the different, where they are going to sell the product. That is the first thing. For example, people are designing a car. Toyota is designing a new car. They want to target the Indian people. So that means what they do is, before they launch the advertisement, they collect a set of people from different states in India, and they try to show the advertisement and the futures, and then they study how the people conceive the information, whether they show interest, a positive feeling on the advertisement, and they have any eagerness on buying a car, or they are not having any idea about it. By the way, they try to identify the key elements, what that they have to focus on, and then they retune or redevelop the system, and then they launch in the market. That's why most of the system or most of the product which multinational companies are launching is getting success. This is one of the this is the technology people are mainly following in Coca-Cola, Facebook, Meta, Microsoft, and many other companies. They use this neuromarketing technology before they sell the product in the market. So that is one of the area we have also worked on. And also, in addition to that, we also worked on pain assessment. So usually the pain assessment is one of the very, very important area when you are going into the hospital where we have a chronic disorder. People are admitted for a long duration in the hospital. For example, if the people are taking chemotherapy or other very, 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 very painful painful treatment they usually be very stressful. So to understand the level of pain and the level of stress, we can also do this research on pain assessment. And recently, we are also started working on education, So how the effective computing can be applied in a classroom environment to understand the students' interactions and behavior. And also in a remote e-learning platform, how can we apply this particular technology? So these are all our major work that is currently going on in our lab with many collaborators. Now we go for a major application. First of all, in effective computing, we are focusing on patient care. So if you want to, because patient care is very, very important, it is especially important if you go for an aged community. So So we need to be always taking care of the people and also to monitor their emotions over a period of time. For that, we can use this technology. And we also use this technology for medical diagnosis for understanding their emotions. Sometimes if you see some patients in the hospital, if they are very stressful, they cannot speak fluently. From the way they pronounce the word, from the way they communicate to the doctor itself, they can understand how much stressful they are. So it is a kind of an indicator that the people are stressful or not, And also in counseling, it is very, very important. So when you go for psychological counseling, we have to understand the people emotions before you go for a proper rehabilitation or counseling methods. For that, we need to understand the people emotion and their behavior. This is very, very important. And also some places, some countries, the people are also using this technology to take care of the psychological aspects of a pregnant woman and the caring of the baby. And we also use this technology used for remote monitoring of Alzheimer's disease. And also nowadays, people also started developing robotics based on the affective computing technologies. This is very interesting area, robotic. For example, when I was doing my PhD, one of my friend is working on this topic, and he is developing a robot, a humanoid robot, a small size robot. That robot is mainly used to interact with the people who are admitted in the hospital for a long period of time. Because when you are into the hospital for a long period of time, always people feel very stressful because they feel lonely and there is nobody to talk to them every day, and there is the pain due to the treatment, and everything makes them very stressful. By the time this kind of robot will interact with the people, and it will analyze their emotion, and it will do some kind of a simple action to make them happy. So that's the concept, So that's the idea. And there are some major emerging area where we can also focus on this domain, but is mental health care monitoring. That is depression, anxiety, stress analysis in different cases on a different places, because the depression, anxiety, stress is not only on the educational level. It is everywhere in all application, in all places, people are having this kind of problem. So it is important to monitor the mental health and also to give a proper treatment for them to be live very peacefully. And then we also have to use this technology for improving quality of life of neurological disorder, especially Parkinson, autism spectrum disorder. This technology, affective computing, is very useful. And the driver monitoring system. There is one of the product developer called Affective that is in US. So they have developed a system, that is already used inside the car. That system continuously monitor the person, the driver, and the driver emotions. This is very, very important. Sometimes you might have an experience that when you are having a fight with a family or somebody, sometimes people drive rashly the car. They continuously, they will shout loudly, and they use kind of a very aggressive behaviors, that sometimes that also make them to make an accident. So in these cases and all, this kind of systems could be very useful to detect the driver emotions and behaviors. For that, we can use this idea, and take care of the people, education and e-learning, and workplace wellness and productivity, and development of social robotic systems, and gaming and virtual reality. This is another domain which is emerging, when you see the people, most of the children, or they are always engaged with the gaming and the virtual reality experiments. Sometime if the children are watching some game very seriously for a long period of time, they also try to mimic the same kind of character. So this kind of things it's very alarming, and people are started also working on how this gaming and virtual reality environments will affect the people emotions. That's simple. And then personalized customer experience is also, we can do it by using this effective computing. And when you come for healthcare specifically, it's concerned, we use this idea, effective computing topic on autism spectrum, pain assessment, emotional impairment reduction, rehabilitation, and counseling. And now we go into the what is the limitation in the existing system. Why we want to develop effective computing systems? Because in a current clinical practice, normally people are having a behavioral, for example, if you are abnormal in terms of your behavior, when you go and meet doctor, how they assess your behavior? Basically, they ask you some verbal questions, or they give you some international standard questions for you to answer it, or they ask you to answer for some of their questions. So these things and all completely and highly it is biased. That is the biggest challenge in the current clinical practice. Because to be honest with the doctor, they are saying that almost 90 to 95% of the people who come for counseling or who come for treatment, which is where they are affected by emotional disturbances, they never say the truth. So they always hide and they are biased and they are giving a wrong kind of information to the doctor so that the doctor cannot diagnose the problem on time. If the problem is not diagnosed on time, what is the problem? It will create a stress. If the stress continues for a long time, then the people attempt for suicide. So the end result is the suicide. So we have seen many cases in Malaysia, and that is the one of the important place where we have tried to work on the people with the hospitals, because there many people are trying to attempt suicide, and because of they could not control their stress level. Why they could not control? Because they are not intimating or notifying the doctor about their exact problem. So this is the basic problem in the current clinical practice. So we want to overcome this one by means of developing some AI-based autonomous system, where we no need to ask them any questions, where we can analyze their behavior through the physiological signal response or speech response or by facial expressions. So by the way, you could easily determine the emotional state and behavior of a person. That's the important place where these systems are coming into the picture in clinical applications. So here, as you see here, the first diagram, figure 13, shows the conventional approach where you collect as data. Maybe sometime it is structural or unstructural. And then we do some pre-processing, we optimize, and then we do some AI tools to make a decision, and then we will notify the outcome. It is like a kind of a one-way process, So there is no kind of feedback-based system to reassess it. Whereas the another diagram, which is figure 14, will give you a clear picture on what we use in our real life, where we are not only using the mission-based solutions, we also taken into the consideration of the clinical expertise. So that as you can see here, we are developing a data which is the clinical data, clinical input, and also the physiological input, and we process together as a multi-model system, and then we make some decision, and that decision will be informed to the clinical expert, and based on the expert, the outcome will be given. Because at present moment, to my understanding, there is no place where people simply allow the AI to give a treatment. Always, there are clinicians always stand aside with the AI, where AI is assisting the clinical personnel to make a decision. So it is always be a human in the loop is always something important when you come for some critical problem. That's an important thing here. And this is a simple idea of how we develop effective computing system. So we have a different kind of biological signal. We have to collect it when the people are watching some emotion or when they imagine some emotions, because there are multiple ways you can stimulate the emotion. You can play some video or you can play some song. Sometimes you can ask them to close their eyes and think about their happiness, happy moment in their life, sad moment in their life. That is also very, very powerful and very strong. So
Excuse me, sir.
one of the important thing here,
PPT is not visible.
PPT. Okay, sir, just a minute.
It is visible, sir.
Maybe some people are mentioning that it is not visible. So anyway.
No, sir, it is visible. It is, you are in that slide number 20. It is visible. No issue for us.
Okay.
Sir,
Maybe the others can check about the permissions, maybe. I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So here, what we try to conclude here is the way, or normally the question arises in the people mind is, how can I assure that this data for this emotion? This is very, very challenging question, because basically we place some kind of stimulus. What do you mean by stimulus? Stimulus means it is an international standard stimulus. That means as long as international standard means what? There is called IAPS, International Affective Digitized Sound. That has a different sound that makes different emotions on a people on a worldwide. So it is an open source data and it is a worldwide a standard data set for stimulating a specific emotions on a people. And then there is another called International Affective Picture System. That means if you watch some picture, you feel some emotions. So these are all called international standard systems. So what we use on our work is mostly on this kind of IAPS or IADS, sound or pictures to stimulate emotions. Earlier time we used the videos, but what is the problem there? The videos may be sometimes biased. What do you mean by biased? For example, I play which is very famous video which makes you happy when you are watching. But if you are watching first time, you can enjoy the real happiness fully. But if you are watching the same video in your earlier life, or maybe you are watching a 5th time or 10th time or 100th time, then you may not have any much, differences on your emotion. This is the biggest challenge, in terms of the videos is concerned. So we used some stimulus to trigger the stimulate the emotion. We collect the signal. And as long as the biological signal is concerned, pre-processing is very, very essential. We have a lot of types of pre-processing methods available: digital filtering, ICA, independent component analysis, thresholding method, and wavelet transform-based approach, empirical mode decomposition. So many approaches are available to reduce the effect of noise. Of course, you cannot remove completely, but we can reduce the effect of noises. And then we extract some statistical information through feature extraction techniques. We have multiple kind of domains are possible at this moment. And day by day, people are started introducing many feature extraction methods. But fundamentally, we are relying on time frequency or time domain or frequency domain and nonlinear domain. That's all. Whatever you derive is all comes under this category. Once you had a good number of feature, you give it to the feature reduction technique to optimize it, and then you use some machine learning or deep learning algorithm for classification. This is a flow. But yeah. So when you come for unimodal system, which is very simple and very direct, where you can use a single modality, either physiological signal only, and you can process it. On the top arrow, as you can see here, this is a very typical flow, what we use most of the people, So this is a conventional approach, machine learning. But nowadays, we started working a lot on deep neural network and deep learning methodology. So nowadays, most of the people are started using deep learning technique for emotion classification. But I always comes with some kind of questions, For example, when you are using a deep learning network, data is important. As long as you don't have sufficient amount of data or large data, it is always not advisable to you go for deep learning method. So if your data set is very small enough, a simple machine learning technique can do a very good classification compared to deep learning technique. It is not necessary to implement something in deep learning for the sake of publication. Because what they do here, they do augmentation to increase the sample, or they try to manipulate the sample, and then they use different network. So here, what we will have to be very careful here is, we have to be very careful on designing our experiment in terms of what is our data, what is the type of data, how much data you have, and what is best suitable for that data, and which method can give you a better result with the most reliable result. That's important. That's the important thing. However, people also started using a multi-model system. This is a very hot topic, and very few number of papers are coming up in this domain. If anybody is working on this area, please explore more on how can you analyze classify the emotion using multi-model data. For example, physiological signals, speech signal, facial expressions, and how can you fuse this information, and then you can classify the emotion. So this is one of the very hot topic, and it is a most robust method, because in biological signal or any single modality, you may miss some information, but in multimodality, it is always more reliable and give you more robust result. Now we go to the applications, and the first application I want to show you here, it is done by University College London, UCL. And what they have done here is they developed a robot, a humanoid robot, for a autism spectrum disorder. What this robot will do is, this robot do some kind of emotional expressions, or it try to communicate with the autism spectrum affected children. Because as you people know that it is very difficult to handle ASD children, because that unless only the parents or teachers have a control on these children. Others you cannot control them at all. Because the behavior changes time to time and very rapidly and aggressively. So in this kind of thing, they are trying to develop a humanoid robot, and that robot will try to interact with the autism spectrum children. So whatever the robot is doing, the children are trying to mimic, and they try to capture and they try to analyze it. How is their emotional behavior is improving? And once they feel that the system is effectively trying the children, then they ask the people to interact with the normal children. So by the way, this kind of technology could be directly useful for a autism spectrum disorder children. And the core concept here, what they use is a natural language processing. So NLP is one of the very prominent area, and it is a natural thing, and also at the same time it is very common everywhere. That's the beauty, Yeah, you don't need a signal, electrode, placement, gel, etc. It's a very common conversation, communication response in itself. You can use it to develop some applications. Yeah. And this is another application called Deep Effects. It is a kind of interesting system, which is mainly useful for aged people. Where when you see the Western country, especially Europe and US and all, mostly the alone. By the time, how can we manage their emotional well-being? That is the main thing. For that, people have developed a system. That system can mutually interact with the people on a regular basis, and based on their facial expression, the way of their response to the questions, they can determine their emotion, first thing. At the same time, they can determine the blood pressure and body mass index and cardiovascular risk prediction level. And also they can check whether they are subjected to any chances of getting into stroke or not. These are all very, very amazing because this is mainly possible by understanding the variation on the blood flow in the facial region. So by understanding the facial blood flow region, blood flow level and intensity, they can detect all these performance things through the system. And the third is called Empatica. This is another interesting system, which is like a smartwatch. But the smartwatch.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I have one doubt, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Tell me.
Sir, in last slide, you have explained about blood flow will help to identify the heart rate, BMI, etc. So actually, in this domain only, I am pursuing my PhD, sir. So regarding this, I need one help from your side. So whenever the blood flow is leaked in eye nerves, whether it is possible to find by using any kind of sensor. Do you know about that any sensor is available or not, sir?
It is.
So actually in eye, some bleeding or some blood flow leakage will be happened in eye nerves. At the same time, some unwanted waters also leak from the eyes, certainly. So due to this problem, there is a situation for a diabetic patient to put injection. So sometimes they put steroid injection also, sir. So nearly 4 to 5 times more than 25,000, 30,000 of steroid injections are recently available in hospitals. So that injection is injected for the diabetic patients to overcome that problem. So for that, is it possible to use any kind of sensor to detect these kind of problem earlier, sir?
I think, ma'am, there are some people in my network are working on this domain. So if you don't mind, just tell me, send me an email with your requirement. Sir. I will definitely reply you with a possible solution that you may think of. Yeah.
Sure, sir. Can you please send your mail ID in chat box, sir?
I will show you in the slide, ma'am. You can take note of it. Okay, ma'am?
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. I think some people have taken the control of the presenter. So I cannot move. I think, okay, let me take the control. Yes. Okay. So now this is, I think, let me move a little bit faster because you may feel tired. Yeah, Empatica is another device which is kind of a smartwatch, but specifically designed for affective behavioral changes. So when the people are having ASD, they are used to wear a smartwatch. That watch will sense the data and it will transmit the behavioral changes in the children. This is one of the, this product is already available in the market and you can explore it by using this particular topic, particular name. And this is a kind of a project done by our final year project student for the ASD children by using a simple microcontroller. So we used some biosensor, electro-EMG sensor, pulse sensor, and also oxygen sensor to continuously monitor the ASD children. And then we communicate the responses to the remote people who are the doctors or specialists or parents, so that the system will continuously monitor the children and then it able to track what is the kind of emotions. Yeah. And then this is another interesting project which is in collaboration with the Wales University in Chennai and also in another government center in Chennai, where we had a privilege and then an honor to go and collect the data on ASD children. And we used the ECG and EMG sensors to collect the data from the children by using a 2-channel system for each sensor. And then for a different kind of emotional stimuli, how the children are reacting. So we collected those data and we tried to classify the emotional level. It is one of the very interesting project, and we also had a publication on this domain. Yeah. And the last one is Parkinson disease. As everybody knows about this disease. It is one of the non-revertible disease. If a person had PD and lifelong, he has to take a medicine to control the effect due to the PD. For example, stuttering of speech, and he cannot walk properly. The gestures are different. All those things is very common in Parkinson people. So the problem here is earlier the Parkinson disease is commonly happen above 60 years, but nowadays it is also happening above 40 years itself. So we don't know when it will come, but at the same time, when the disease come, then it obviously affect the emotional behavior of a person. So that is the important thing here. And the main important idea here is they cannot move their muscles as like a normal people. So we have to, because we are sometimes we call masked people, whether they are happy or sad or disgust or surprised, their muscles, facial muscles will never move. That is why we call masked people. By the time, how can we understand their emotions? That is a key challenge that we had during our earlier time within Malaysia. So we developed an automated emotion recognition system specifically for PD and stroke people. Yeah. And I will show you later. Yeah. And this is one of the system which we have tested at the very beginning, which is based on virtual marker placement based emotion recognition. Here we don't use any physiological sensor. We have developed an algorithm, and that algorithm will place a set of virtual marker on a subject face on a defined location. The accuracy of the marker placement is about 85 to 90% in the age group of 25 to 75 years old people. So once we have placed the marker, and the markers, virtual markers, are tracked real time. So whenever the person is expressing some emotions, the logic is very simple, and this is one of the publication in +1. And the logic is very simple. What we try to do here is we try to come up with a simple idea. So we try to form a set of triangle with these markers, and we defined some conditions for marker. If these markers are changing, then the emotion will be this. It's very simple logic, so that we can able to detect the emotions in a real time very quickly. That is a beauty in this work. And almost the work have achieved more than 99% accuracy in our experiments on. And before we developed a virtual marker system, we developed a manual marker, then we done automated. Then we compared the efficiency. That's the way we done it. But manual marker, one of the problem is you need to wear the sticker all the time. It is very, very impossible, yeah. And this can be applied in many places. And we have used this system of a virtual marker placement system in the hospital of University of Malaysia, Perlis, where the bedridden people can interact with the real-time application by expressing their emotions. There is no need of words or anything. They can, if they express the emotion, that means they're deaf and people who can't speak, they can easily communicate to the surrounding environment. That is a beauty. It's very simple but very effective. And coming back to the PD is concerned, one of the challenging part in the physiological signal analysis is you cannot determine or you cannot differentiate any signal by looking at the signals in a visualization, because almost all the signals looks the same for a normal people or PD people. So in this case, we need to develop some AI tools or AI system to classify it. So at the first level, what we have done is we developed some customized CNN model, 1D CNN, and that is used to get the time series data on the rest state of a PD and the normal people, and we try to classify it. So we've done the first work based on the deep neural network to diagnose PD. Okay, it is a kind of PD diagnosis using EEG signal. It can also relate it to that particular concept, And then we also try to understand how the signals are changing between different emotion on a normal and Parkinson people. As you can see here, the red color one is showing the normal people response for a different emotion, and the blue color one shows the response of Parkinson disease people. Almost in most of the cases, the emotional responses of the Parkinson people is very, very low compared to the normal people. So this is not taken for a specific interval. It is the result of our complete experiment. For example, we try to stimulate happiness, sad, disgust, and so many type of emotion. Over a period of entire duration, what is the kind of response they have? That is what it's showing here. So it is a kind of a confirmation what we had, that there is a differences in the emotional perception level on PD and normal people. So that is very, very important. And then we also analyze the trajectory-based analysis to understand the amplitude variation of a EEG signal over a period of time for normal and PD. That also gives us a very clear indication that PD have a suppressed response, compared to the normal people. And also we have performed some kind of brain connectivity pattern analysis. Of course, this may not be completely valid. The reason is we had a limited subject and we have limited number of channels. So in this case, of course, you could not able to come for any conclusion by looking at how the different region of the brain is connected for different emotion. So here we have used a different power spectral feature to map the emotion on normal and PD people. So by the way, we try to get some idea. It is not it's a preliminary idea that there is a difference in connectivity strength and the region on different people. And then we have developed a PD emotion classification system for PD by using 3 different type of deep neural network: 1D CNN, 2D CNN, and 3D CNN. And this is completely a customized network, so we don't use any pre-trained model. So we developed a customized model and we trained with our data. And we have trained the system with the data which is available, so we don't do any kind of augmentation or to increase the number of samples, right? And by the experiment concludes that the 3D CNN seems to be giving you a better accuracy in classifying a different emotion in a people of PD and healthy control. And this is another important result. Because of course, previous result, what you have seen is all the results of our data set. But when you want to justify your result, always people ask us to benchmark your data with the open source data. So that is what we have carried out in this paper in the CBM, Computers in Biology and Medicine. There we have taken a very famous data set for emotion recognition that is called SEED4 and Amigos data set. And we have compared our methodology on emotion classification, and we have achieved a very notable accuracy in compared to the previous work on which used the same data set. By the way, the algorithm, what we have developed could be more reliable, And this is a kind of a result by classifying PD or normal by a subjective emotion, each emotion, that is also we have performed by using a conventional machine learning model. And that also shows the differences between NC and PD people. And this is the work related to pain assessment I have mentioned earlier. Actually, this particular work has been published in a conference proceeding and done by the final year project student, and is already available in open source. They have a data for both physiological signal and facial expressions. So, and they collected the data for a 3 different kind of state, no pain, moderate pain, and high pain. How they generated the pain? They try to stimulate the pain. by means of using some kind of thermal devices, so that increases the stress level of people, to increase the pain, so that they try to classify their different kind of pain level, which is connected to the emotions through biological signal and facial expressions. So this results, the dataset name is called BioVid Heat Pain Dataset. If you are interested, you can easily explore it and you can try. There they have ECG data, EMG data, galvanic skin response, and video signals data. So you can develop a simple model and you can able to classify no pain or high pain. That's what we tried on the conference proceeding, and we got a very good accuracy. But interestingly here, we have accuracy about 85-87%. And another important thing is, through this approach, we understand that the pain level is not to be almost same for all the people. Every subject has a different kind of experiences. Even though they say, I feel moderate pain like that for different people. But when we classify, when we analyze the data, the results are completely amazing. So I think that it conclude that the pain is not again a subjective phenomenon, understand? So it's a kind of a good experience in working on this particular domain. And then regarding the education is concerned, we have started working on classifying the emotions in a classroom environment. Prior to that, we have published 2 work on a learning style classification in a classroom. For example, we have a certain kind of activity, usually what we had in our classrooms, for example, reading, watching phone, and taking notes, and participating in discussion, and so on. So there is an open source data set that has the data of 4 different activity, and we collected data by getting a permission from the people. It is not open, so that means that it is available, but we have to request the main author, corresponding author of that paper. So we got the data, and we did some kind of preliminary analysis with the different types of futures, and we try to classify through the conventional classifier, and we able to achieve some kind of interesting result, which is, of course, it is not very high, but it is acceptable. By the way, the statistical features and frequency domain features have given a very high accuracy compared to the higher order and entropy features. But this study is not just it's an end of this particular domain. We have just started working on it. Hopefully, we will do some better works and better publication in the future. And of course, we use the thermoplot to see the region of activation for a different activity in this particular paper. You can explore it. Yeah. And this is another work that is in continuation with the previous work. We have taken a multi-class activity, arguing, eating in a classroom, explaining, hand raise, and so on. There are a variety of activities we have considered in a classroom environment, and we used the video signal. Here there is no EEG, but here we use the video signals and to understand the people different behavior, and we classified it. So this is our first thing what we have done on the emotional understanding of the students in classroom. In the future, we are working on it, and probably you will see in the very soon. Yeah. And so these are all the data sets that we have developed in our lab on different applications. But this data set is not in open source. That we have to be very careful, because there are many people over the world. They try to manipulate the data from our paper, and then they try to publish it. As long as we notify those papers, we are writing to the journal to retract those papers. This is our regular job nowadays. So that I want to confirm that this data set we have only shared with our collaborator for a privacy point of view. It's not in open source. However, If you are interested in this domain and affective computing and you want to develop some system, please take note of all these data sets. These are all the open source data that available for the researcher. They can easily access it. For example, data set using EEG, speech signal, facial expression, multimodal data. Multimodal data, very, very rarely it is coming up. And even though it is a multimodal data set, people are trying to use a specific type of signal for the classification. So please, you can take a note of all this data set if you are interested to explore this domain. And our currently we try to develop kind of a cloud application to detect the emotional impairment in a people who are in remote domain, and also we try to work with the specialists to include the system or develop a system with the human in the loop, for a better prediction, that is one of our work. And we also working on multimodal system with another group of researchers. And this is very, very important. What are the challenges in the affective computing system? Whatever the questions comes in your mind so far from my presentation, it is all mentioned here. First thing is handling the real-time artifact and noises. This is the most important challenge. For example, you collect data from a person, but the person is not simply sitting idle. He may be rotating his eye or blinking or yawning or moving here and there like that. Mean your physiological signal will immediately get affected by this kind of movement. So this is what we call noises and artifact. So we have to be very carefully design our experiment, and we have to effectively reduce the effect of these noises. That is the biggest challenge in this kind of application, so that you will get better accuracy in recognition. Second is ethical issue. This is very, very important. As long as you go and do any experiment on for a human being, if you are designing your own experiment, you should have to have ethical approval for your experiment. Otherwise, you should not collect any data at all. Because we had an experience here that the earlier time, we don't have ethical approval, ethical committee and all. So we just collect data and we try to publish. But wherever we send, they reject it. So the rejection mainly due to there is no ethical approval, no ethical approval. So if you are interested in collecting a real-time data or data on a human being by your own devices, you have to get ethical approval. Otherwise, don't collect data and don't do any experiment. It is waste of time. Okay. And if you are using open source data, you don't need any ethical approval. So you can free to use it a lot, And limited number of sample. Always try to keep your sample size as maximum as possible. As long as you have a large number of samples, your system is more better and your results are more reliable. That is an important thing. So try to keep your samples as high as possible, and limited number of open source data. As I said here, these data sets are only explored over the recent year. At the very beginning, it was very few. However, if you notice very specifically, you will not get any data set which is specifically for pathological people. For example, I have my data set for emotional impairment detection in Parkinson's disease. You never find anywhere in the world on this domain. I have a data set on emotion recognition on stroke people. You will not find it, because what people have here is whatever they can share it for as an open source of conventional diagnosis, PD diagnosis using EEG, PD as Alzheimer diagnosis using EEG, all those things are available. Or emotion recognition, normal people are available. But if you are focusing on a specific application, especially pathological people, you please try to contact with your collaborators in other places or with the medical personnel in your city to develop a data, and then you try to develop your model. That is a good thing. And then most of the systems, what we are developing is subject dependent because of limited number of samples. However, the results is not guaranteed at all because it is subject dependent system. So we have to be always try to develop subject independent system for a better robustness, And then regional and cultural factor. This is another important thing. For example, the video that I show to the Indian people where they feel the emotion is not same as the emotion what people are feeling in Kuwait. So the cultural and regional factor is also another important thing. So when you people are trying to work on a multicultural or multi-region data set, that would be very good one, and that could give you better result, and that could be acceptable by the people over the world. That is one of the interesting things. That's why for us, we added data from Malaysia, India, and then Kuwait. So we had 3 different countries for our works. And what are the issues in handling cross data set? This is another problem, because if you have using 2 different data set and 2 different data set are collected in a different environment, different experimental setting, we have to be very careful on standardizing the data. So that is a main challenge if you try to use cross data sets of different data sets for your work. These are all common challenges in the affective computing. And future work is concerned, there are plenty of opportunities are available. I think I can go here. Fake video detection, or in that emotion detection is also, it's one of the very, very top significant topic of research in recent time, because everywhere we know from the social media that fake videos are spreading everywhere. So that technology, we can also do it for affective computing application. And we can develop some solution for emotional AI in healthcare, for major depressive disorder, emotional disturbances in the neurological disorder people. That could be a very good solution for them, so that we can contribute to the society. And we can also develop a biofeedback based rehabilitation system. And also we can look for multimodal data fusion methods and algorithm development. And we can also think about miniaturized affective system design, feedback system design. So instead of bringing up with a huge number of channel and electrodes and so on, how can you make a system of very simple prototype that can effectively track and monitor the emotion? That's the important thing. And real-time emotion detection using biological signal is still remains a big challenge, because 90% of, I think I can say 80% of the current publication, or 80 to 90 percentage of publication, mainly on offline data. Very, very rarely people are trying to develop real-time system. So if you try to explore this possibility, then we could do some interesting publications that could useful for the society. Yeah. And then, okay, of course, we have a lot of collaborator. Without collaborator, nothing is possible in our research. And I thank all my collaborators in different part of the world for their wonderful support and encouragement. And this is my Google Scholar page, where you can find our recent paper on many different topics, medical imaging, agriculture, and emotion recognition, pathological thing, so many quantum computing, and so many things. Yeah, you can explore it. If you need any paper, you can easily contact me. I can share the paper if you can't access it. Or you can also download it from my LinkedIn page. Almost nowadays, I upload all my paper in LinkedIn, so that if you are in that loop, maybe you can easily get it. It's my Scopus page, and this is my contact. Of course, I think Dr. Vaithiyanathan has shared my email ID. If you have any query, or if you need any kind of help or any doubt or any critics, feel free to write an email. I will try to help my best. Okay. Thank you so much. If
Participants, you have any
questions?
queries? Thank you, Professor. Thank you. Thank you. Participants, you have any queries? 2-3 minutes. Participants. So, okay, participants. Okay, maybe if you have queries also, okay. Yes, come on.
Yes. Sir, I am Shanta from EPCO Shillong Engineering College,
Yes,
Sivagasi,
tell me
Tamil
now.
Nadu.
Yeah, tell me,
Actually, you told we can in the case of dumb people, right?
Hmm.
We can explore. We can get their what they want to speak, like right.
That is not mentioned in this work, but we have
Ah.
done that work. Yeah, tell me, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, whether you have how you can because if you see the Parkinson people, their waveform is something different from normal people, right? Similarly, for dumb people, whether their waveform is same as that of the normal people, that's my question. Whether I may not be correct, but I have a doubt, so I want to clarify.
Yeah, ma'am, actually speaking, when you are looking at the rest state EEG, rest state EEG means when the person close their eye and you record the physiological signal, especially EEG signal.
Yes.
You can only see some kind of differences in normal people and PD people. That is mainly due to the neurological disturbances.
Yes.
Okay. So,
but for dumb people, the neural.
When the person is open and they are looking at some task, and if the PD person is under control, medication control, this is very, very important. For example, if the PD person is taking a tablet of dopamine, then only their finger, there is no shivering. Yeah, they can speak fluently. So that is important. In that case, their EEG waveform shows some differences on different emotions. For example, you realize the emotion of very strong intensity if there is a song or fight, but they may not realize it. So this is different category. But a dump is different category. If a person is if the person is only dumb, definitely you will not see any major differences in the signal. Because as long as you have a neurological disturbances or problems in the brain structure, then only you will see a differences in the waveform and the behavior. So the dumb people, what we do here is we try to develop a system by using EEG only to pronounce the word what they are thinking. That is called silent speech.
I understand. I understand. Whether the pattern remains the same, I'm not getting that. Because you did some experiments, so I want to clarify my doubt.
Pattern is concerned, if you are talking about ideal state, there is no change in the pattern. But if you are having a specific task, definitely you will see changes in the pattern.
Okay.
Yeah. And that silent speech paper, I think I remember your name. If I'm not mistaken, I will contact you once it is published.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
So because we developed that one system for Arabic people. For example, there are completely locked people in the hospital. They never can move anything, but they are live. But the brain is active. But they cannot move anything. So how can they communicate to the external world? For example, I want water. I want food. This one is the outcome of our work. So you will see very soon.
Really, I am impressed with your work. So it is really a real societal work. That's what I want to clarify my doubts also.
Yes, ma'am. That's what I said at the very beginning. My PhD was theoretical.
Yes.
But there is no use at all. So, but when we move to the hospital and talk to the people of different disorder, we really understand how much potential of, how much they need help from the technological scientific community, Definitely you can do a lot of things for them.
And one more question, sir. This is not question, it is just a help, right? You are having collaboration with a lot of hospitals, I think so.
Yes,
from your slide. What are the procedures whether we can follow to do the collaboration like this?
Ma'am, first of all, you need to find a potential collaborator or a specialist in the hospital.
Okay.
That is first thing. That
Okay.
specialist has to have a mentality that he wants to publish
So,
paper and want to advance research and contribute to the society.
Society. Okay.
Because when we were discussing with the people in Malaysia, their only motive is we want some output and that should be useful for the society. And
Yes.
from that, they want some publication. So that
Okay.
is their only motive. So that is the first thing.
Okay.
Second thing, you need to go for your problem statement. What is the problem of the specialist? They will tell you, because when I met the people in Malaysia, our thought was developing humanoid robot for patients in hospital. But after discussing with the doctor, they changed our mind. We don't want robot and all. You develop EEG system or a physiological system. Then we completely changed our mind. So second thing is problem statement. What is their problem? Then you have to continuously discuss with them to come up with a proposal.
Yes.
How we are going to do the experiment and you are going to address it. The third step, through the doctor, you have to approach ethical approval committee, ethical committee.
Yes.
So ethical committee, you have to present your project, a proposal, and you have to confirm that my experiment does not affect the patient at all. This is very, very important. When I do experiment, my experiment should not trigger them to feel very stressed. Or that is
They
not
should
the
be
main
comfort
concern.
zone. They should be in the
Comfort zone.
comfort zone.
They should be normal. It should not affect the physiological or physical physical behaviors.
Yes.
That is ethical approval. Then you can start collect data. So when you are collecting data, ma'am, you have to please make sure that if you have 100 patients, if you are targeting, you will only get 25 people data of clean type. Clean. There is no noise. So in our experiment and all, we collected 145 patients of Parkinson. Only 25 subject data only clean. All other data, that all of a sudden the people will remove the headband and they leave. They say, I cannot watch it. They can say, this is nothing. I want to go. These are all common.
It requires more passion.
So this is very common. So that is that you should have a patience. So you have to have a plan for collecting data for 3 months, because my students all stayed there and collected data for 6 months. That is
Thank you, Professor. Thank you. Sorry for interrupting. Actually, thank you. Really, it was a very informative, as well as many of them, I hope, beneficial for their future research, as well as some of them pursuing PhD also, or some of them doing a project on that. Surely it will be very helpful for them. I really thank you. Thanks from my bottom of my heart. That is, after a long time, at least we are seeing through online. So really informative, and we'll keep in touch. So surely, since we have running out of the next session, that's why we are winding up. Otherwise, I'll put up more questionnaire session. Thank you, Professor, once again, and thank you. We'll keep in touch with you. Okay. So participants, we have two. That means now the time is 7:33. 7:40. We'll come back for the next session. Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, can I please pose a question, please? Others can leave for the break, sir. Sorry for interrupting. Sir, I'm doing my research in one of the neurodevelopmental disorder called ASD and ADHD, sir. You have given a lot of information regarding that. And I'm concentrating on the area that due to the lot of happening of the nuclear families, several mothers are facing the issue whether their child is growing in the good area, and they are not able to find out the milestones whether their child is going in the right path or not. Out of two, one is having some speech delay, and their growth rate is very much low. If he is a boy, the growth rate is very much low when compared to.
Sorry, ma'am, your mic is mute.
Am I audible?
Yeah. Yes.
So I personally faced the issue, sir. I have a girl child and a boy child, and I faced the issue. So I sat a long hours for the to get a knowledge in this domain, and I started research also. I completed to a level. And I now stuck at the point that I'm dealing with the high dimensional data sets, sir, because constrained data set is, I mean, it is covering a very small number of features which are influencing the occurrence of ASD a lot. So gathering with the higher data set, that is, the data set should include all the types of features regarding the child from birth to till date, about his behavioral features, his study, where he is living, when he did stopped his milk, I mean, feeding milk, or it is powdered milk, like that. I have got the data set regarding all the information. So I'm working on that. The number of features for one volunteer, I mean, one sample it is around 856 features. So there depending on the domain knowledge, I have decreased the tax, I mean, income details, and some of the details which are unnecessary for the target variable, that is ASD, I mean, autism. So thereafter, I have done the collinearity between all the features. I mean, what are the most influencing features for the occurrence of ASD? And I have got around 300 features in all, which are affecting this ASD. And now I have stopped there because I want to filter some more around 100 features which are causing a lot towards autism. I have stuck there, and I'm not able to filter from 300 to 100. I mean, I can't raise the collinearity, how to and the data set is categorical set. I have used this chi-square test, I mean, mutual induction, and LB and light GBM techniques, and have gathered all the subsets. And after that, I have started with 300 features. Now I'm not able to figure out the first, I mean, those who highly significant features that caused ASD. I stopped that work until ASD. I started with ADHD and done the same thing, and I got around 272 features. So I also diagnosed which are the most common features that are occurring, that may occur ASD and ADHD. So that is my work, sir. Now I want to filter, and I mean, I want to take the first 100 most influencing features. So can you guide me how far I can?
Ma'am, actually, your question is very long, and you explained clearly what is your situation. First thing, since the time is up, you can send me the detail in email. Definitely, I will reply you. However, for the time being, what I can suggest you here is, for a quick solution, please discuss with a doctor, with a specialist. And you just explore whatever the doctor, because we had experience. What we do here is, we have a lot of paper we published on clinical health record based ICU mortality prediction, sepsis prediction, and so many things. Here we always use feature selection algorithm. We are trying with a set of feature selection algorithm to optimize the future. But number of future is high, mean you should have to feel very, very happy, because whenever we submit paper with a limited number of future, we got rejected immediately. They're saying that, on what basis you selected this 20 future, 25 future? How can you guarantee that this is good for the prediction? But
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you have a huge number of future, it is you have to feel happy. So you have to try to develop a model with all the future, and you can also try to optimize it and see the model performance, how it is improving. So by the way, you can come to a conclusion that with this number of future, my model is able to predict very effectively. And then you can either check with the specialist whether these futures are valid, or you check with the literature, because there are a lot of literature that supports your selected number of future, correct? By the way, you can provide a solid evidence for your result.
Okay, sir. Sir, can you suggest a bit more 2 or more problem statements with these data, sir? How far I can go forward with this data to complete my PhD work?
I think I can able to help you. Exactly what is your requirement through my email, as is shown here. I will
Yes, sir.
try to get you as soon as possible. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, sir.
Yeah, no problem. Welcome. Thank you so much and for